Welcome back, everyone, to the Michigan Trails Report. I am your host, Tom Funk, and if you haven't noticed, it's June. Is all the snow gone yet? I'm still seeing photos of snow in the woods. Anyways, who the heck am I? Well, in case you forgot, or you took a tree branch to the head, I am the author of 50 Hikes in Michigan's Upper Peninsula and 50 Hikes on the North Country Trail. I'm also a group moderator and or group expert on many of your Michigan Facebook hiking group pages. And once a month, we get together and talk about the current status of Michigan trails, trail magic, hiker trash, and even give you a heads up on trail conditions and the status of the various reservation systems like recreation.gov. And I'd be remiss to mention our sponsor, the Hiker Hostel and Resale in Germfast, Michigan. They are doing a grand opening in 2026. You've been hearing about it for a while. Rumor is they may even have like a little sneak peek this summer sometime in July. So if I hear anything, I'll let you know. All right. And of course, thank you, Adam Main, my friend in Kalamazoo, Michigan, for supplying the music. He is a awesome person, and I really appreciate him providing the bumper music for our podcast. And if I can figure this out here, remember I'm always fighting with my computer, and no, I don't want that, I want that, and I gotta move this over here. Oh my gosh, my computer's like totally freaking out. I'm gonna have to start over. I don't know, we'll see. Hit escape, there we go, and here we, let's see, and here we go! Oh my gosh, all that, I hope you didn't turn away. But anyways, it is, time to put on those boots and head out for the trail of the month. And what better month than June when the mosquitoes are in full force, the sun is high, and the itch to hit the trail is stronger than your third case poison ivy. Hey, this month we're trekking into the glorious sandy pine forest of the Huron National Forest. And now, here's a little backcountry trivia to impress your hiking buddies while filtering your water. The Huron National Forest was founded way back in 1909 during the Teddy Roosevelt era when he was still hiking with John Muir and talking to Gifford Pinchot. And the Manistee National Forest joined the party in 1938, and by 1945, the two were administratively combined, even though they're not actually physically connected. Kind of reminds me of my marriage to the wife. We've lived separately on and off over the years for various reasons, but hey, we remain administratively connected. And so if you've ever hung around these backpacking forums like I do, you see that the number one most asked question from new hikers is, hey, are there any loop hikes in Michigan? And within minutes, you'll see a stampede of helpful responses shouting out things like Manistee River and Jordan River and Fife Lake. But you know what, guys? There are probably 30, maybe even 50 backpackable loop hikes in Michigan, and this is probably in the top 10, I would say, and it is Hoist Lake, and that is where we are headed. This is located in the heart of the Huron National Forest. It has nearly 10,000 acres of serene solitude wrapped in a cloak of pine, aspen, hardwood forest. The trail system is a figure-8 layout with about 19 miles of loops, giving you options without sending you into, an existential crisis at every fork. And it's gentle ups and downs, mostly flat, kind of like nature's version of a chill treadmill with fewer buttons and way better views. And you can hike it in boots or trail runners. I did it in boots, but yeah, trail runners are just fine. But don't expect creature comforts. This is, a no groomed trails, no designated campsites, no potable water kind of hike. So you're going to need to bring your filter. You're going to grab water when you're near the lakes because it's high and dry up on those ridges. So keep that in mind. And sometime in the past, they switched over from being a fee area to a no permit, no fees, no cell service area. And it's just you, the wind, and the occasional irritated squirrel. And the last time I was there, we actually watched a deer swim across one of the lakes. It was kind of cool. So this is a really good place for a break-in hike. Great for beginners wanting to test their legs, seasoned hikers craving a low-stress escape with a little black country flair. It gives you options with this figure 8 system. So if you're looking for this place, from Grayling, you're just going to get on M72, and you're just going to go east. Follow the signs for M72 about 50 miles. Then you're going to see some signs for Hoist Lake, and that is at Forest Road 4182. And you're going to follow that for about half a mile. So you'll spot the trailhead and probably a dusty Subaru or two. All right, granola heads, trail lovers, fellow gluttons for mosquito punishment. It's time for the trail conditions update, where we bring you the news from the trailheads, the trails, and wherever branches are still falling from April's ice tantrum and May's tornadoes. So that ice storm, the good news is, and yes, we have some, is that most of our state forest campgrounds and trails are officially back open. So if you've been pacing around your living room in hiking boots, now's the time to hit the trail. Meanwhile, the Michigan DNR, those unsung heroes in those classy green service uniforms, have put together a storm recovery web page for the 12 counties hit the hardest. Think of it as the Hall of Pain for trees, trails, and park rangers' lowers backs, but it gives you really good information. And there's even an interactive ArcGIS map for all you data-loving trail nerd cartographers out there. I'll drop that link in the Facebook page in a bit, or just Google Michigan DNR closures, follow the digital breadcrumbs. And can we get a slow clap for our closure count? Yeah, we're down to 62 areas, down from 68 in May. That's progress, baby, like watching the snow melt off in the woods. Squamish Falls, it's open. The park is open. They're still doing construction on a couple boardwalks. There's a couple trail detours, nothing to worry about. The trail between Upper and Lower Falls is open as well. They're estimating the completion on this massive brand new 900-foot boardwalk that's fully accessible in August. So be patient. And yes, that's Quamanon Falls Brewery and Pub is still open, because even if the boardwalk betrays you, beer never will. Meanwhile, in the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness, the Visitor Center is closed until late June or whenever it decides to reopen. But, hey, they set up a temporary visitor center at the Winter Ski Complex right off of M107 near Union Bay Campground. And so that's where you can get your information there. Now, for full season-long closures of parks with campgrounds, these are actually the campgrounds at state parks that are closed for the full 2025 summer season. That is Sheboygan, Clear Lake, Heft, Ionia, Sleepy Hollow, Traverse City, Twin Lakes, and Muskellung. And they're all taking a gap year. We do have partial closures, a lot of them, but I'll hit the highlights here. Eddy Geological Center closed through July. Craig Lake State Park closed through June 17th. Hartwick Pines Visitor Center, they're actually shutting down June 23rd through the end of the year. Lake Mary's Plains Pathway in Iron County, there is a large segment that is closed due to unsafe bridges and boardwalks. But we do have one big, beautiful, shining piece of good news for you, and that is the White Pine Trail is now completely paved from Comstock Park to Cadillac. That's glorious 92 miles, tire smoothing miles of pavement. Only took, 25 years, 30 years, something like that? Some of you weren't even born when they started this trail. And finally, mark your calendars, the August episode of the Michigan Trails Report. We will dig into Labor Day closures and what we know so far for 2026. And let me tell you, there are a lot. It's probably going to be an entire podcast. So in the meantime, if you want the gritty details, it's michigan.gov/DNR/about/newsroom/closures, and check that out before you head on out. All right, Trail Tribe, grab your trekking poles and your flexible expectations hat. It's time for your North Country Trail Update, which we break down the latest trail news for this very long trail focusing on Michigan. First up, always first up, has been for years, is, yes, you guessed it, the Brush Creek Bridge. Still out, still an on-bridge, still been out so long it actually might start collecting retirement benefits soon. That said, there have been no reports of hikers doing cannonballs or sending distress signals, so we think people are making it through there just fine. So wading boots, optional, just use good judgment. Victoria Dam, they still are doing water releases because it is spring. There's still snow melt going on, so you listen for those sirens. You can always call the Upper Peninsula Power Company and ask them, hey, guys, what's the schedule? And they will be happy to share that with you. Reroutes, well, as mentioned, we had the one at Tequamanon. There's one at Upper, one at Lower. Minor, small, no big deal. Muskelung Lake for the campground. Again, minor, no big deal. Now here comes the real fun. Now, between the bridge, that bridge, and Boyne Falls, the North Country Trail has taken on a new identity of a post-apocalyptic obstacle course. Yeah, well, it's getting better. This storm didn't mess around, with all the down trees and everything. And the North Country Trail's interactive map, instead of showing you every little individual trail obstacle like they typically do, they just hold up your hand. It actually looks like a giant splotch of poison ivy on your ring finger. So it's kind of cool. You look at it, and it's kind of like this pink color. So if you're out there, bring your wilderness ninja energy and be ready to limbo and climb duck or whatever as you navigate around logs. And over at US 131, the old US 131 campground, construction is ongoing on the railroad bridge over the Manistee River, and there's a clearly marked detour. You need to follow it because, you don't want to end up starting in someone else's drone footage. Kellogg Forest still doing their active timber harvest. And, here's a road closure alert that really impacts the North Country Trail. H58 along Lake Superior. Yeah, that H58 between Grand Marais and the mouth of the Two-Hearted. It has a closure again, this time at the Blind Sucker River. That's right, third summer out with a full-blown road closure on the primary connection between those 2 points. And I'm starting to think the Road Commission hates us. But hey, the good news is it is being improved, and it's a massive detour. Don't even try going through it. If you've ever crossed that bridge, it's a pretty hefty, massive bridge. There's no way around it. So keep that in mind. And a little sunshine. We had some volunteers with the Superior Shoreline chapter of North Country Trail, and they've done a 4-mile reroute south of Munising. And this will replace that 1.75-mile death road walk along M94. So this new trail will weave through the Hiawatha and nearby DNR land by Wagner Falls, offering safer, quieter, and just plain prettier hiking. Can we get a heck yeah for ditching the pavement? Heck yeah. I hiked that back in the day. It wasn't fun. Lots of traffic. And I'm saving the best for last. Tequamanon Falls State Park announced they secured a vendor for the shuttle service. So, for those of you who think you can do an out and back but end up spending too much time in the brewery, this is a great service. Head on over to my Facebook page. I just made contact with them a couple days ago. You can get the gory details there. I'm also contacting them about what kind of service they're providing on the North Country Trail. All right, folks, it's time for everyone's favorite cautionary corner of the podcast of Don't Do This. And that's right, this segment where we lovingly roast questionable trail decisions so you don't have to learn the hard way or end up on the evening news like these hipster doofuses did. So did you hear about the one about the hikers who tripped and thought their friend had died? No, really. Well, not tripped like twisted an ankle. Tripped. This is from the Associated Press. 2 hikers in New York Adirondack Mountains called 911 to report their friend as dead. But here's the kicker. He was still very much alive. Turns out the 2 had taken some mushrooms, hallucinogenic ones, and while they were having their interdimensional moment on a mountaintop, their buddy was apparently just sleeping too hard or blinking weird. So a ranger hiked up, he assessed the situation, and escorted the 2 stoned souls down to an ambulance, and then, just to complete the sitcom, walked the quote-unquote dead hiker back to camp where they all had a very awkward conversation. And we assume the mushrooms were not invited at this point. So let this be a PSA, friends. If you're going to expand your consciousness, maybe don't do it on a cliff edge at 4,000 feet. And hey, you know what? In my outfitter days, I dealt with drunks, potheads, people who packed heat, people who packed box wine, and I had one dude that did both. And I had a chick, she was so stoned she forgot her boots. But never have dealt with shroomhikers. They're a whole other trail marker on the map of what were you thinking. Now, while we're on the subject, and this isn't my favorite stoner story, but one that is, this actually, my favorite stoner story is a whole nother podcast. Go to the table of contents and find it. What happened is we dropped off, this is back in my shuttling days, and we dropped off a hiker at the trailhead, and 5 minutes later, my phone rings, and it's a guy we just dropped off. He says to me, I left my water bottle in the van. And I said, okay, no worries. Let's just head to the visitor center right there and buy another. And he pauses and says, I can't. Now, I'm thinking maybe it's a money issue, so I offer to cover it, and that's when he hits me with the truth. It's not that. My bag of weed is in the water bottle. And this was back before medical marijuana was legal, mind you. And here I am on the phone wondering if I should laugh, if I should cry, or call for backup. So I end up calling the shuttle driver, who had left. He was gone. He wasn't coming back. He finds the bottle in the van. Then I arrange with the stoner a very discreet James Bond level handoff, hid it behind an outhouse at the visitor center. Those outhouses were so disgusting, only a stoner would walk behind it. And the hiker actually did retrieve it post-trip. Now, what we don't know is whether he noticed the quote-unquote commission that might have been deducted from his stash. Just saying. So today's moral is simple, folks. Don't do drugs on the trail, or if you must, at least don't do the kind that make you think your hiking buddy is dead. The woods are trippy enough without all the extra help. Anyway, the article is posted on the Facebook page. All right. Well, speaking of hikers, how about some hiker trash? And this month's recipient is Jason Abe Lincoln Murrell of Tennessee. And he has completed an end-to-end hike of the entire North Country National Scenic Trail. He has chipped away at these 4,800 miles from 2020 to 2024. Congratulations, Jason. Going to the NCT 100, the 100-mile challenge on the North Country Trail, E.J. Drugel, he's at 148 miles. And he just hiked Parnell and McPherson just past Cumberland in Michigan. Jerry Patrick Getz has accomplished the 100-mile hike from Suspension Bridge mile 795.3 to Sand Lake mile 3857. That is the north end of the Manistee River Loop and Antrim County. Ellen Shetling Whitehead, she finished her 100 miles in the Grand Traverse section area. And David Schmoody, parts unknown, looks like Michigan. Hey guys, if you're gonna put your stuff in there, just make sure you tell us, where you did. So congratulations, guys, and we should see more and more of these rolling in as summer goes on. All right, trail friends. It's time to shake things up like a squirrel in a granola bag. And we're rolling out a brand new segment here on the podcast called North Country Trail Chapter of the Month. Now listen, I know some of you like to zone out when I hit the event section, so I see the stats, and it's like someone yells monthly meeting and half of you leave. So I'm making a little change here. So not going to scroll through all the events. You can go to the North Country Trail events page and the various Facebook pages and find those yourself. So what I'll do is I'll highlight a chapter and maybe an event they're having and kind of highlight that. So our very first chapter of the month is the Hiawatha Shore to Shore chapter. So woohoo! Congratulations. And these legends manage the North Country Trail as it slices through the majestic Hiawatha National Forest, mighty Chiquamaunon Falls State Park, and Lake Superior State Forest, all the way from Mackinac Bridge to the mouth of the Two-Hearted River. In other words, prime hiking country. And get this, they're not messing around this month. No less than 5 events in June. That's more than I've done with my social life all year. So, hey, help them out and come on up and join them because they have lots and lots and lots of events. So you usually hear me talk about them right here on the podcast. Well, the main event I'm going to talk about is the Hike and Work Day. That's Saturday, June 14th. And it's a hike. It's a trail maintenance day as well. So they're going to be clearing winter blowdowns, mowing, lopping, blazing, that kind of stuff. They're going to meet at 9 a.m. at the Pine River Primitive Campground parking area. So bring gloves, bring boots, bring a great attitude. And hey, if trail maintenance isn't your thing, no worries. They do a lot of hikes and meetups and things like that. And again, if you want to check out all the North Country Trail events, and there's a lot of them, northcountrytrail.org/events. And hey, don't go anywhere, because up next we are going to have the Reservation Report. And this episode of Michigan Trails Report is brought to you by MichiganTrailMaps.com, home of high-quality maps, downloadable, great maps, and the kind of detailed books that make you the most prepared hiker in your group chat. And hey, my books are sold there, so of course I love that website. And unless you're still not planning ahead, in which case, welcome to your gentle but firm reality check. Let's talk pictured rocks. Okay, hey, Memorial Day weekend is in the books, and so we're moving on to Independence Day. Better get on it, because the several weeks ahead of it in June are disappearing faster than toilet paper at the Chapel Beach Trailhead. And interestingly enough, there are more sites available for the 4th around there than June 13th through the 21st. And from mid-July to mid-August, putting together a solid itinerary is like assembling an MSR stove without the instructions. Basically, if you're waiting too long, and you're going to be not getting your ideal itinerary, and you may end up camping behind someone's Subaru at the trailhead if you don't make your reservations. And as always, Chapel, Mosquito, Beaver campgrounds are all the hot tickets, and they barely exist after midsummer. Labor Day still got a few scraps left, but if you're hoping for a Saturday spot, you can start whimpering now. Hurricane River, 12 Mile Beach, Beaver Creek, those campgrounds are down to single days, and again, they hold back some dates. You can plan out like 2 weeks and a month in advance. Grand Island, slim pickings around Independence Day, but the rest of the summer you're still looking really good. Sylvania, you're looking really good there too. Over to the state parks, MichiganDNRReservations.com. They take reservations 6 months in advance. Backcountry camping. Porkies, you're mostly able to put together your desirable itinerary, but I'm noticing there was great movement in the number of sites that have been snarfed up in the past couple of weeks. So yeah, you're going to want to get on that as well. Craig Lake, you can't book anything there until June 25th, thanks to the ongoing construction. And Tequamanon Falls State Park, Clark Lake is hotter than a campfire marshmallow. All 3 sites booked up. They were all booked up for Memorial Day weekend, and you're seeing that people are booking further out there at Tequamanon. So yeah, you're going to want to get on it to make sure that you can get what you need, especially if you're through hiking the area. Isle Royal. Yes, they're open. There's this dude on the various Facebook pages that keeps creating new profiles and spreading false information. But yes, Isle Royal's open. The island has not vanished. The Isle Royal Queen, I am seeing more zeros in their calendar than I do on my yearly review at work. So if you don't get on it like in the next few weeks, you're going to be SOL. I'm telling you, it's I haven't seen it be this full this early before. So if you don't get on it, you may have to rely on the government or swim. And speaking of relying on the government, the Isle Royal Ranger has plenty of openings. So I only see one route that has a 0, but that won't last as the Queen fills up. Seaplane, you got to call them and make an inquiry. Rock Lobber Harge full. You're going to have to wait until next year on that one. All right, weather report. First out, a shout out to Mother Nature for a recent performance. 8 tornadoes pirouetted around Hastings, where I live. And if you're planning a hike in southern Michigan, it's wise to call local land managers. Check trail conditions. Some trails might now include unexpected, quote-unquote, twists and turns. So the stormy weather, it may continue. It looks like more and more summer-like for the next month or so. The Climate Prediction Center is calling for above normal temps and below normal precipitation for June. So pay attention to those wildfire predictions as well. And here we go. Hey, I figured this out. I'm so proud of myself. Alright, so hey, guys, I am really sorry. I have not been good about moving content over from the podcast to the Spotify and all the other accounts. See, I have a Podbean account. That's where the majority of my podcasts live, but I have to, republish it on Podbean, and I have to time it appropriately, blah, 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 blah. I've been very bad about it. So I've had a change in my work schedule, so it's freeing up some time to actually work on these podcasts, so look for some more content. But you know what does help? It helps if you subscribe, because I see about 10% of my listeners are actually subscribers. So if you don't mind, please subscribe. Otherwise, if you don't, I'm going to sneak into your house and poke holes in your big Agnes. And to find all those various Facebook pages and stuff, just go to tomfunk.net. And again, Hiker Hostel and Retreat, Germfast is our sponsor. Thank you, Adam, who's ripping it out right now on the guitar for the bumper music. Alright, and our quote to end the show. Hiking is not for everyone. Notice the wilderness is mostly empty. And that's by Sonia Jurg out of the book The Middle of Somewhere. Thanks for joining us. Look for more content. We will see you next month.